and play loud music or whatever. The first live that I just did right now, they cut into it so many times. They wanted it to basically be confusing to people of what I was attempting to convey to you guys. So I'm gonna make this one short, and I'm gonna get right to the point. All right. So, oh, look at the sun. Oh, I just cannot with this sun. Oh, I love it. The beams is coming all through the trees. So, in this video, I wanted to discuss what a lot of people have been talking about with regards to this boycott. This boycott is actually part of the the Asian business boycott or whatever. It is part of the wealth transfer. Okay, so the melanated beings on this land that have been misidentified as Negro, Black, Colored, African American are the true indigenous, right? Every other one of these communities, I watched a video where a guy actually breaks down like all these different areas in the Bronx, in New York, in Harlem, all these different places of where these other cultures have literally had like their own communities that they have separated themselves and literally have businesses and that area where they live and literally have segregated themselves already. Like he goes through so many different areas within, you know, these different cities, and how they literally have businesses where they only hire their own, right? And so all these other cultures have already been performing and exercising group economics. The only people that were back in the day and that were strategically manipulated, programmed, and dismantled, disenfranchised. I was thinking of disenfranchised and dismantled at the same time. Uh, have been the misidentified Black community, right? We have Black Wall Street, all this stuff. That's old. But I watched a video where a young lady was in a Korean, I think it was a Korean mall, and she was talking about back in the day, Crenshaw, how it had all these Black businesses and how her father had three businesses himself. And she grew up in a family that had businesses, right in Southern California. Now, when I was young, I lived in Long Beach, California. So I remember before the LA riots, which I really think that the alleged government and stuff had part in destroying those Black businesses in the riots, because who fucking burns down their own businesses when they have had to struggle so hard to get them, and a lot of those businesses not having insurance and things like that. So my whole thing is that this was not that long ago that in these alleged Black communities, which is the real indigenous communities, it was not that long ago that they had their own businesses within their own communities. And it was not all these foreigners within these communities. So after the LA riots happened, then after the Rodney King beating, and then it was the white guy that got, the truck driver that got beat. I forget his name. Somebody put it in the comments what that guy's name was that they did tit for tat. Since they wanted to beat Rodney King, they went and beat up that white dude. And then all them LA riots happened, right? And allegedly, all these melanated, indigenous, aka African American Black businesses got burnt down. I was there as a child. I was there in those areas, right? Walnut, Cherry, 21st, St. Louis, Hilltop. I was all over Long Beach before it was bougie, when it was still uh, highly indigenous, aka melanated. aka African American black people, which are both similar term or choose terms. The wealth transfer is not only group economics, but it is also has nothing to do with reparations. Okay? I want to say this again. If you are indigenous, what they have misidentified as black African American, the wealth transfer has nothing to do with reparations. What it has to do with is your inheritance. And all these foreigners and different people who have illegally, unlawfully stolen, pirated your private property, your real estates. So they have videos where they show the melanated beings who have patents and who have invented all these different things, whether it was a maxi pad, whether it was, the street light, whether it was, these different microphones and, all these different inventions, right? That not only do they attempt to attribute to other ethnicities, palm colored people mostly, okay, but they have not generationally, their families of the true inventors have not benefited from their ancestors' inventions, which would have been generational wealth. The wealth transfer is the true heirs getting what is rightfully theirs. The true wealth transfer is about the truth of whose property it truly is. Confirmation with the bell going off on a man's phone that was just walking by. So the wealth transfer has to do with heirs and heiresses being transferred what people have previously not only stolen, but are squatting on indigenous land, on indigenous estates that have been redlined out of their own properties. And the wealth transfer is them gaining all of their own stuff back. This has been one of the biggest heists this has been one of the biggest criminal organizations that hide behind the name of government, that hide behind the name of all these different facets, all these different spokes to the system of eugenics. Okay? The wealth transfer has nothing to do with reparations. It has to do with indigenous heirs and heiresses claiming what the fuck is already theirs, that's been theirs, that people have been trying to keep the true heirs and heiresses under so much physical, spiritual, emotional attacks, running after dollars, running after the spell of money, while they buying their own shit back. They buy it. It was already yours. It is already yours. The trees they picking all this fruits and vegetables and stuff from is yours. The oil they confirmation with the horn pumping in the back, beeping in the background. The gasoline, the oil they pumping out of the ground is yours. The fish they fishing out of lakes, rivers, and streams, the oceans, is yours. The wealth transfer has nothing to do with reparations. It has everything to do with you claiming and gaining, obtaining everything that was already yours. That they have not wanted you to know because they done taught you in school that it was somebody else's and that you was somehow brought over here on slave ships, that there are no slave ships to account for. But we got all the photos of them. It, the different Caucasian foreigners, we got all them ship logs. We got all the ship records, the manifestations and all whatever. We got all the logs for those of when they came over here with the Moors. We got all that information. But they ain't never had none of that for these alleged slave ships, but some weird ass sketches. They got real photos of them, black and white photos of them coming over here. The Caucasian foreigners. They got actual photos. They are, at the same time, they should have had photos. But they got weird ass drawings that don't even make sense. How people just stacked on top of each other. Because the math don't math. The math don't even math with the nonsense they try to say. That's how you know they lying. Because the math ain't mathing. But not only that, we've been here. We were here. What's the book called? They were here before Columbus. Ivan Van Sertima. Stolen legacy. Stolen inheritances. Stolen generational wealth. Stolen resources. So if you want to get into reparations, just scratch reparations. Let's talk about all the taxes these squatters owe us for squatting all these years on indigenous land. You want some of that fake ass fiat, right? Then why not back charge these mofos for every gallon of gasoline they done pumped out of our land? Confirmation with the warrant. They don't owe reparations. They could owe us some first of all, everything that is ours. Number one. What crowns, artifacts, bodies of our ancestors that they got in these museums, right? That they disrespect. $13.22 on the timestamp. It has nothing to do with reparations and everything to do with heirs and heiresses claiming their own estates and what their and legitimate claims to their ancestors, inventions, and everything that has been made off of them inventions. Everything that has been made off of Henrietta Lacks sales. They owe that woman's family billions, trillions of dollars. The medical industry owes their family everything. They should just bankrupt them. So, anyways, like I was saying, it has nothing to do with reparations. It has everything to do with claiming true estates and what is rightfully the indigenous peoples. Wake up. Be aware. I hate to use the word wake. Be aware. That's the wealth transfer. That's what they don't want me to talk about. They got you buying fruits and vegetables. We used to have them all up and down the streets. All you couldn't go down one street without having different fruits, berries, vegetables, at your disposal. You could just pick them right off the bushes and the trees. Everywhere on our land. They purposefully have chopped down fruit-bearing trees all throughout our land. So you have to depend on their chemically laboratory created Monsanto having glyphosate, Syngenta, affected GMO, genetically modified organisms, and now bioengineered food. Stop playing. 555 on the 1555 on the timestamp when I looked. This has been strategic and orchestrated. And I'm going to just call it for what it is. They've been had us under covert war tactics. And I've been trying to tell y'all. But thankfully, people are becoming aware and have opened their eyes to what's really going on. All right, but I'm going to end this video. If you need anything else from me, it will be in the description. I just want to let y'all know that it has nothing to do with reparations and everything to do with claiming what is rightfully yours as an heiress and heir to this real estates, real inventions that these motherfuckers have stolen and have been profiting off of your families ish this whole time. The whole time. We are the creators, and creatrix, for a woman is a creatrix. We are made in the image of God, meaning that we the little G's the gods and the goddesses actual offspring. We a melanated sister just came and poked her head around the corner to look at me right now. But anyways, as I said, if you need anything else from me, you can find it in the description. Like my 3 websites, my technologically advanced interactive activity ebook, Nieve Tigres merch, my fine art that you can get on print on demand. Okay. Educational tools as well that you can get on print on demand. And if financial means allow for you to give love offerings, aka what other people call donations, then you can hit up my Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or you can just buy me a coffee. And if financial means do not allow for those things, then you can always, for free 99, FREE, for free, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure you hype my videos up if you have a hype. Okay. All right. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.